reporter for Cape Media News, who is going to do most of the talking after me. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Give it up for Cape Cod here for hosting. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Hi, my name is Emily Tulloch. I'm a reporter and producer for Cape Media News, and we are a part of the Cape Cod Community Media Center. Just a quick show of hands, who has heard of Cape Media News? Okay, good. More than I anticipated, so it's awesome. For those of you who don't know, I'm just going to do a quick plug. We are a weekly news broadcast. We go up on Fridays at 5:30 on Channel 99, and then go up on Facebook at 5:45. So please follow us and like us on Facebook, and stay up to date with very hyper-local news. And now I would like to also talk about the Cape Cod Media Center. Who has heard of, been to, is a member of the Cape Cod Community Media Center? Show of hands. Okay, not as many, and that's a shame, because this is a great, great place. And I'm not just saying that because I work there, I swear. The Cape Cod Community Media Center, I also have a plug for this, is your local public access TV station for the towns of Barnstable, Yarmouth, Dennis, Harwich, and Chatham. We also produce Cape Media News, which is your source for local, authentic, hyper-local news. So tonight, actually, a portion of the proceeds from your admission will go towards scholarships for students who wish to join the Media Center or who want to participate in workshops or camps that have a cost associated with them. And our mission at the Cape Cod Community Media Center is to build a community through media, so we want to make sure that our programs are accessible to all. And now, let's get on to the story slam. Who's excited for that? Yeah? Wonderful. Now let me get to the rules. So, the rules for tonight, we have randomly chosen the order of the storytellers, and we will go in order starting with one. Each storyteller has 5 minutes to tell their story relating to the theme. I knew I was in trouble when. We will signal, Izzy right here, will signal the storytellers when they have 1 minute left, and then when they have 30 seconds left. And then Izzy will probably stand and give the storytellers their cues as well. Without further ado, we are going to present our first storyteller. Storyteller number 1 is Liz Argo. Yes! Hi, Liz, come on up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. So whenever you are ready, Izzy will start timing you.
All right. Go, Izzy. So it's 1970-something, and streaking has become very popular. I was an assignee, a consignee. I liked streaking. I'm really glad my husband's not here. And he thought I was going to tell a different story, but I better watch my time and stick to the one I'm telling. So, and I had a boyfriend, and we liked doing the streak thing. My sister was an actress, and she was in a lot of shows, and she was lined up to do a show with Joan Fontaine at a dinner theater in Massachusetts. We decided to go see my sister in the show, and I can't remember the name of the show, and maybe I shouldn't tell it because I'm thinking that Joan Fontaine hears about this. There could be repercussions, because now she knows who the streaker is. But at any rate, we went to the show, we had dinner, we met the other people at our table. It was very pleasant. The stage was a wraparound stage with stairs that arced around. So basically you could go up onto the stage from any place on the floor, which got us thinking. So we had Act 1. We behaved ourselves very well. Got to know the neighbors at our table. We had intermission. And that's where the thought started to percolate. What if? And we went through, we made the plan then that this was going to happen. It was a perfect opportunity for streaking. So we sat through Act 2, enjoyed it. It was a very good performance. My sister was wonderful, as was Joan Fontaine. Act 2, of course, now we have intermission, and we are preparing for our show. So we go into the bathrooms, and who streaked? Anybody a streaker? All right, got some streakers in the audience. So we go into the bathroom and we kind of prepare, which means you have to lose anything peripheral that you don't need to remove when it's the moment, because the worst thing that a streaker could do is get caught taking off a whole lot of clothes, and then it's kind of embarrassing because everybody's already looking at you like, what are you doing? And why are you taking off your clothes? And it kind of killed the moment. So we took off all of the extra clothes, which means the underwear. And we go back out, and we sit down, and we go through the third act. The third act was wonderful. Joan was great. My sister was wonderful. And now is the moment. So they're out there, and they're taking their curtain call. And so we know this is the moment. So we look at each other, and we are off and running. And we were seated on the side. So we ran up onto the stage. Again, those stairs made it so easy. Ran across in front of the curtain call. And I knew I was in trouble when my eyes met my sister's eyes. And she was absolutely floored because it was her own sister running across the stage naked. And meanwhile, talk about upstaging. So we really had to keep going. I couldn't give her an apology, so we dashed off across the stage and ended up going down the other side of the stairs, out through the audience, out into the parking lot, which of course then you get hysterical because it was so great, right? And you get back in the car and you drive away. Well, the eyes of my sister should have told me everything. But I got the phone call, and I knew I was in trouble because she was so upset. Turns out Joan Fontaine did not think it was very funny or nice of us to have upstaged her to that degree. And my poor sister, who now has lots of more performances with Joan, she can't say a word. Because if she ever told them that it was her sister who ran across the stage naked and busted that curtain call, she would have been dead. And so, my cautionary tale is, if you're going to streak, make sure your sister's not on stage when you do it. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for wearing clothes tonight. We really appreciate it. Oh, okay, that's for after hours. There's still a whole show to get through. Thank you. So our second storyteller of tonight is Al Rosenberg. Al, come on.
Hello. 50 years ago, I was a teacher at Swarthmore College, a liberal arts institution near Philadelphia, and I was giving courses like order and symmetry in natural systems. Loved all that kind of design, and I love every kind of symmetry that you can make. And at the same time, whenever a rock band would come, I would give a psychedelic light show right on the stage of the rock band. In fact, I even went into Philadelphia one time with my laser and everything else, and on the street, got in an apartment through the window, out against the buildings, gave another light show. Lots and lots of fun. So you can imagine how happy and interested and intrigued I was when I heard there was going to be a 3-day festival. August 1969, Woodstock, peace and love, and one band after the other for 3 days. Oh boy, but there was a hitch. We'd already rented an apartment in Cape May so that our family could go down to the beach and the kids could swim in the ocean, and it came right at the same time at the Woodstock Festival. Oh my. Well, it was a turbulent time in that era. You may know that the Vietnam War was still going on, civil rights was very active and continued to be one of the major developments in the country. In fact, in 1969, I'd gone down to Washington and stood on the Lincoln Memorial when Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech. 5 years later, he was assassinated. And a couple of months later, Bobby Kennedy. Things were really pretty brutal. And also Stonewall. that's where the riots with the gay rights opposing the police started up in the summer of 1969. And as you know, Apollo 11 landed, and Neil Armstrong took that first step on the moon. And I wanted to take that first step on Woodstock, but I got an idea. I heard about it. Wonderful. I heard about Steve Rawson, the teenage son of a good friend of mine who is teaching biology at Swarthmore College, was going to be going to Woodstock because his family, they had a cabin up in Canada, and on the way to that they had bought a 3-day pass to go to Woodstock so that the rest of the kids could come along and take in the scene. And they were willing to take me along in their VW microbus. Whoa! Did I go? You bet. And okay, so maybe I could take the laser along, and if I could plug it in, I could give a light show right there with the rest of the crowd. Maybe. And anyhow, I was all set. We went off. We got to Bethel, New York. Was it crowded? What a jammed up place. Cars, traffic, young people streaming along the street. But everybody was friendly. Nobody was honking their horn. Nobody was trying to get in front of anybody else. It was truly peace and love. Everybody was smiling. Oh, it was great. And we were inching along. Well, we had gotten there, and 250,000 other people were there. In fact, that's the number of people on the Cape right now. And so they pitched, we were directed to a certain field. They pitched their tent right next to the VW bus, and I was going to sleep in the bus. We went over and we heard one of the evening performances, Ravi Shankar, and then we heard Melanie. I didn't stay for Arlo Guthrie. He had a song, coming into Los Angeles, bringing in a couple of keys. Don't touch my bag if you please, Mr. Custom Man. Okay, well, we left, starting to rain. Next day, coming back from the toilets, I started to have a bad feeling. I knew I was in trouble when I saw the Rawsons taking down their tent. Oh, we left. Goodbye, Woodstock. They took me to a place where I could get a bus to New York, from New York to Philadelphia, from Philadelphia to Cape May. But you know, it was a good time. And I was very pleased to have made the scene, been there for that special love and peace. What a time. Thank you.
Our third storyteller of the night is, I'm gonna butcher this, I'm sorry, Paloma McLarty? Awesome, I did it! Hooray! Come on.
Hi everybody! This is a pretty cool place. I've never been here. Okay, so 1972, January, Madrid, Spain. I had gone to London because I wanted to see the world and freedom. I went there. My mom had different designs for me. She didn't want me to have too much freedom. So she convinced me and pulled me back and said, come to the University in Madrid. We left in Malaga. But she had an evil intent. She put me in this like nunnery place. They were half nuns. They were nice ladies, but I was a teenager that had come from London. I already had the flavor of freedom coming out of Franco, regime, and I was just fighting everything. Like something in me said, I can't do this. I had this sense of, like teenagers, invincible. We can do anything. I had gone to England and come back with this like Russian hat and from Portobello Road and in this coat. I looked really out of place in Spain. Believe me, everybody in Spain at that time, now they're very progressive. That time, no way, Jose. So, I come back to the nunnery from London, where I had been by myself. Now I am by myself with all these nuns. It's Friday, I think it was Friday or whatever. It was the weekend. I had no classes. Chances of having fun was minus 0. Because there was nobody my age. I was lonely. I didn't know anybody. I said, I made a plan. I'm going to Malaga, where my friends were, where I come from. So, I get a map. I don't know Madrid. I look at the furthest south. I get a tea. I don't have much money either. I get the tea. It's about 8 hours to Malaga, but I didn't get it together. I know that it was around 4 o'clock by the time I go out of the tea. But I get there. I look odd, very odd, January. Okay, I have my hat. And I start hitchhiking. In 1 second, this truck driver stopped. Very quick. Who having my dad's age, kind of heavy set, I am too, so. Okay, but he could have been my dad. And I'm young, and I'm like, nothing happens, this is normal, I'm just hitchhiking, I'm free, I can talk to anybody. I'm chatting, and time goes on. It's 8 hours from Madrid to Malaga, so you get an idea. In those days, it's quicker now if you go. But in those days, the roads were really bad. So, we going, and he's slowing, he wants to stop in every bar and get a drink. I don't know how I'm not thinking anything about it until I start thinking something about it. Then it's about 11 o'clock, okay? We are half an hour from halfway point. 11 o'clock at night. It's a field, nothing. Crickets, moon, and this dingy motel. He goes there, we stop, and he gets a drink, and he goes, you want a drink? And I go, no, thank you. Oh my goodness. So I get into I say, he comes up to me and says, if you don't kiss me, I'm not taking you anywhere. I am furious, I'm angry. Like so angry, this is so wrong, what have I done? I mean, just wearing an odd hat, it makes you available, or whatever. I am so mad, I get in the road, I go outside, nothing, blindness, nothing. I hitchhike, I think this guy went this way, and suddenly he turns around, it's 11 o'clock at night. He goes to me, you look hot. Que buena esta cordera. And I see he slows down to go into the path. I freaked out, I grabbed the steering wheel and started turning, and he goes, you're crazy. And I open the door, I come out, he slows down to go into the path. He looks like a hillbilly or something. So I ran out of, honest to God, he goes out, he backs his car, and he comes towards me. And then at that moment, I have no resources. I just looked at these blinding lights that are coming towards me, and I freak out, and he stops right here, and then he backs up. And there I am, left in this field with the crickets, and my heart is going, I knew I was in trouble then. But the story ended that I ended up being able to get to my sisters that was in Cordoba. And that is my story. And I have a lot of crazy stories.
Thank you. Would love to hear some more of those stories. That's awesome. Our next storyteller number 4, is Allison Leporai. I probably butchered that too. I'm sorry. Hey, coming on up. You guys can. I'm getting breaking news live. Can you please silence your cell phones or switch them to vibrate just so that it doesn't interfere with any of the storytellers? It can be very distracting if a phone goes off when you're trying to tell a story. Thank you. All right, come on up to the stage.
Hi everyone. Actually, I knew I was in trouble and I said yes to this. This is really, I'm one of those introvert extroverts, so this is like, I'm super good being coffee together. Having a tough time. All right, here we go. So I wrote a few of these, crumpled them up, and had half a beer. I knew I was in trouble when I met Jack. Much like the book, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, he had a giant dragonfly tattooed on his cheek. I also found out his real name was Blake, after the poet. We met in Cairo. I'd been there about 5 days, and it already had started off as a mass adventure. My name's Allie, for short, so when I arrived, everybody assumed I was an Arabic male. So they put me in a hostel with a bunch of other men. Sorry, am I like, okay. So this was a time in my life where I was 3 years into the death of my mom. And so every single year I'd pick a place and just go for whatever I could, 2-3 months, which looking back, what a blessing. So I decided to do Egypt. And this was a huge trip, as you can imagine. So there I am, Allie, who's actually female, in skirts that I were hoping were long enough, but would get chastised often about my ankles showing. And in the middle of all of this, I meet this mohawked, dreaded, I have no other word for it, but warrior. And in his presence and his passion, which I know is a little political, so I was nervous touching on this a bit, but he was fighting the fight at Gaza. And as I learned more and met a lot of other Americans who were over in Egypt, what I found was it really tapped in, for me, this moment where pain on a personal level can be so big that sometimes we just want to hold on to the string of a balloon of something bigger than us and let that carry us out of our personal moments. And I had a huge decision to make, and that was, do I run with him to the Gaza Strip, or do we get on a train and go to Luxor and hop on a hot air balloon? It seems trite, but it was huge, and it still is, because as I get older, I recognize that the decisions we make are ones that don't get easier, they get more impossible. And what we look at is not a pro and con list of clarity, but really sometimes it's going to suck either way. And sometimes we really don't know what that answer is. And for me, I knew then it was easier to let go and fall into the tidal wave of passionate love in someone else's belief that maybe I could have felt as well, and let myself say, you know what, as much as I want to ride this donkey, it's not going to save any lives. So we decided to wait, and we met at the Egyptian Museum, which is also in Cairo. To get to the Egyptian Museum, you have to sort of play like this game of Frogger. I don't know how many have you been there, but they drive like maniacs, it smells like diesel, and it feels like everyone's trying to hit you. And so you cross over, and we're there, and I had about 3 hours to decide which choice I was going to make. And as you can guess, I chose hopping on that train. And I got on that train, and I met the most wonderful woman named Carol. She's about 20 years older than me. And we ended up having this amazing friendship to this day. And we hired an Egyptologist named Saeed, who is one of the few Coptic Christians over in that area, which actually has a ginormous amount of Coptic Christians relative, but he taught us so much. But some of the best things we learned were how his fiance wouldn't allow him to be in the elevator with her alone because he tried to steal a kiss before their wedding day. And we also went and searched out so many amazing things. So this story for me really got me back to recognizing that sometimes it becomes easy to want to fold ourselves into something bigger instead of look to the minutia of where we are or what we choose and why. And it's something I'm still learning to this day because it gets, like I said, a little more subtle, a little more impossible in some ways. But overall, it really is hard to say no to a beautiful man with a dragonfly touching on his cheek. And a romance that, gosh knows where that would have led. But here I am. Thank you.
Really beautiful, inspiring, and humorous at times story. Congratulations, that was great. So our next storyteller number 5, is Mike Sosnowski. I hope I said that right. Welcome. Come on up. So, what is it? Sosnowski. I was not close. But thank you.
So now before we start, I just want to say, it's great to see some first-time storytellers out here. Believe me, you guys have some great stories. Oh. So, the theme tonight is I knew I was in trouble when. Now, 90% of the time that I knew I was in trouble when, I knew I might be in trouble, but I didn't know I was going to be in trouble until I got busted. So, the name of this story is called Jimmy is One Hell of a Driver. So, I knew Jimmy was in trouble when I got up on Saturday morning and I turned on the news and Live Eye, 5 in the Sky was over the top with breaking news overnight, high-speed chase, 2 states, 120 miles an hour. They got some guy out on the road just beating the living crap out of him. And I look at my brother and I go, I think that's Jimmy's car. And he goes, no. I said, yeah. I said, remember the party last night? That looks like Jimmy's car. See, my brother and I lived in Covington, Kentucky, about 5 miles from Cincinnati. Downtown Cincinnati, they're pummeling this guy in the middle of the road. And they zoom in, and there's Commodore Elvis getting drug out of the passenger seat. And they start feeding Commodore his lunch. And we go, holy shit, that is Jimmy and Commodore. Let's go talk to Pat and find out what the hell happened. Now, to put these two guys in context, you have to understand the hillbilly family that lived next to us. They were Beverly hillbilly as you get, but they had a streak of good fellas in them. So they could work the system, they could work a scam like nobody's business. Now, Pat was the matriarch of this family. We nicknamed her Patty the Pill Broker. She lived on disability, but she can work the prescription drug system like nobody's business. If you wanted to go from point A to point B at 100 miles an hour, Pat was your lady. She'd be like, one of these, 2 of these, half of these, one of these purple ones, watch out for those purple ones, and she'd light the fuse and off you go. Now, upstairs was Billy and Tanya, Pat's daughter. Now, I never saw them work, never saw them get up to go to work, never saw them look for work, but they always had food, they always had money, they always had booze, and there was always a party. They had Tanya's brother Jeff. He was just a low-level pot dealer, nothing really major. And then there was Jimmy. He was the oldest, not the smartest, but the oldest. 95% of the time, Jimmy was in jail. So, this particular weekend, Jimmy got out of jail, got his car out of hock, and there was a welcome home Jimmy party coming in. We were going to be there. So we go to the party, and Jimmy pulls up with Commodore Elvis. Now, Commodore, I don't know if he was diagnosed, but we believe he was paranoid schizophrenic. He broke his dad out of the old folks' home in a 72 Pinto in second gear because he didn't know how to get it into any other gear. So we're at the party, and Jimmy and Commodore, Jimmy's like, ah, shit, I just want to go cruise. You know, I haven't been in my car in a couple of years. I just want to go. So they go. Next time we see Jimmy, Commodore in the car, it's Live Eye, 5 in the Sky, over the top of a high-speed chase. We go down, we look at Pat. She's sitting at the kitchen table with her head in her hand, just going, son, geez, God. She can't put 2 words together to make a sentence. She's just mumbling. And we're like, Pat, you're going to have a friggin' heart attack. Just settle down. Sure enough, here comes Commodore Elvis walking in the house. We look at him, we go, Commodore, we thought you were going to be in jail. He's like, well, I kind of was overnight, but, you know, after they sorted everything out, they kind of figured they had nothing on me. He said, I'd be riding in the car. He said, what the hell did I do? So we asked him, we said, what in the hell hell went on? He goes, well, we just went out for a cruise. And, we're out in the back roads in the dirt and having fun and drinking beer, and we ran out of gas. So Jimmy pulls into a gas station, tells me to go in and occupy the clerk while he puts gas in. He said, when I flash the lights, you come out. So flash the lights, out I go, boom, we take off. He said, I guess Jimmy didn't have any money to pay for the gas. So he said, we take off, there's cops behind us. He said, we're in the grass, in the dirt, on the road. He said, we take off. Jimmy looks at me and goes, I'm not going back to jail for stealing gas. He said, off we go. So we get on the highway. We think we're in the clear. Kentucky State Troopers behind us. We're flying down the highway. I-75, in and out of traffic. Come over the bridge. There are the Cincinnati cops waiting for us. Throw the stop sticks out. Blow the tires out. We're into the guardrail. They pull us out, start feeding us our lunch right there in the middle of a 6-lane highway. And this is what he said. One of the greatest lines I've ever heard in my life. He looks Pat straight in the eye, dead face, serious as a heart attack. He goes, Pat, I know Jimmy may be in a lot of trouble, but God damn it, he's one hell of a driver.
I think we all secretly want to party with Jimmy now. That sounds very fun. We're going to get right back into number 6 with Susan and Rico. Come on out, the price is right.
I know the title of my story is, I knew I was in trouble when, but I really didn't. I should have. I didn't. So, I'm standing at the windows of the top of the crew, looking out over the vastness of Boston, thinking, I wonder where North Station is. I had to go to North Station to take a train to see my daughter who lived in Salem. Now, everyone here knows where South Station is. That's what we do from the Cape. But North, I didn't know. Now, this is pre-GPS, or pre my knowledge of GPS. I'm not a map girl. And I was like, what am I going to do? I said, I don't know. I'll just go down. I'll walk the street. I'll find someone and they'll tell me. So I left the crew. Walking down the street, I saw a man dressed in black, and he was hailing cabs in front of a fancy hotel, maybe the Lenox, I don't remember which. And I said, I'm going to ask him, he probably knows. So I said, excuse me, how do you get to North Station? He said, I can't tell you. I'm like, why not? He's like, it's too hard, you wouldn't understand. I'm like, well, just point me the right way. Do I go that way, or that way? Then I'll walk a little bit and ask someone else. He's like, no, it's too hard. I'm like, so I said, that's ridiculous. He said, wait 1 minute. He hails a cab. People go off. He goes, come on, I'll bring you. I went. That was maybe an oopsie-doodle. But he's walking down the street. I'm following him. We go in front of this huge, looked like a cathedral or something. He opens the door. He walks in, goes down a dark flight of stairs. I'm like, following him. Goes down a dark, long hallway. I'm like, all right, he's bringing me to North Station. He goes, see that red car? It's mine, hop in. I said, all right. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a little small talk. I'm like, so, how long you been hailing cabs for rich Bostonians? He said, well, actually, no, I kid you not. Actually, I'm an Indonesian prince. I'm like, what? He goes, no, I'm married an Indonesian princess. I'm like, really? I go, where did you meet said Indonesian princess? He goes, Braintree Mall. She was getting her nails done. I'm like, yeah, right. So he takes his phone out and he puts it on, everyone has these now, but this was like, I thought it was a George Jetson car when he did this. He puts the phone in that little standy thing that everyone has now, and he pushes a button. Out pops a picture of him in this beautiful Polynesian princess. She had raven hair, she had long, dark eyelashes, red lipstick, the bindi in her forehead, you know, that little thing that symbolizes marriage. She goes, this is our wedding. I'm like, wow, maybe you are a Polynesian prince. So I said, where's your Polynesian princess and why are you in Boston hailing cabs for rich Bostonians? He said, well, it's a sad, long story. I'm like, I got time. So he said, do you remember the Haitian catastrophic earthquake number 7.0? I'm like, yes, I do. I have Haitians in my classroom. I'm teaching. He's like, well, my wife is very philanthropic. So she decided to take some of her riches and move to Haiti to help them rebuild. Now she loves seafood, Seafood is her thing. So a fisherman comes out from the docks with some fresh fish. She takes it, she's so excited. Fresh Haitian fish. She cooks it up, she eats it. She went paralyzed. The only thing she can move is her eyeballs. I'm like, she has ciguatera, fish poisoning. I said, oh my God, where is she now? Well, her parents, I guess they're the king and queen of Indonesia. I don't really know the details, but her parents flew her back to Indonesia, and that's where she is. And I'm living here, taking care of hailing cabs for rich Bostonians. Then he pulls the car over, and he says, by the way, that's TD Garden, that's North Station. Enjoy your trip to Salem. Now, I never knew I was in trouble, but I bet the Polynesian princess did. Ciguatera. You can't write that shit, right?
Thank you very much. I first really thought this story was going to take a turn where it was an email scam. I'm used to those, the send me your money, I'm in so-and-so place and I need your help. And that's where I thought it was going to go, but it was even better. That was great. Our next storyteller number 7, is Elaine Bennett. Come on up.
So, as teenagers go, my parents had a pretty good one. Yeah, there was more clothes on the floor of my bedroom than in the closet. That's still true, actually. And I smoked cigarettes. I learned it from them. But for some reason, they got it into their heads that I was into far darker things. And lacking the gene for asking directly, they snooped. So I came home from school one day. I was a junior in high school, and my father was there, which was normal. But the way he greeted me was not quite normal. He said, and I quote, "Get into your room." I knew I was in trouble, but I wasn't sure why. So I got into my room. He said, "I took your winter coat to the dry cleaner this morning." I wasn't quite sure why that sentence warranted that kind of vehemence, and also wasn't quite sure how to respond to it, so I tried, "Thank you?" He said, "When I was cleaning out the pockets, I found this." And he reached into his pants pocket, pulled out a folded up Kleenex, unfolded the Kleenex very carefully, said, "What is this?" "Louder." "What is this?" So I had heard about amphetamines, uppers and downers, greenies and reds and whatever, but I had never seen one. And I'm guessing my father hadn't either, because the thing he had in his hand was, well, I'll tell you what I told him. "It's a red Tic Tac." My father had never seen a red Tic Tac. In his world, they only came in white. Just my luck to be a breath mint front runner. "If it's a Tic Tac, what was it doing in your coat pocket?" "Well, it must have fallen out of the box. I didn't know." "Where is the box?" "It was empty. I threw it away." We were at what you call an impasse. I said, just eat the Tic Tac. You'll see, it's a red Tic Tac. My father would not eat the red Tic Tac. Perhaps he thought it would interact poorly with the copious amounts of alcohol he had already ingested. Finally, he allowed me, no, he instructed me to put the pill in my mouth, break it in two with my teeth, and breathe in his face. It was a red Tic Tac. I don't think he ever apologized.
There is just something about a red Tic Tac you can't trust, so I get it. I do. Our next storyteller is storyteller number 8, and this is Larry Egan. Yes.
So, I'm sure I'm not the only one that had to decide as to which story to talk about tonight. The one that ends in my wife calling me and my friends a bunch of effing children, or the one that ends with my mother saying, "You really do lead a double life, don't you?" But no, it really goes back to when I was 19, and it was, it was that morning, it had to be that morning, when I found myself, I woke up in a Mexican jail, and I wasn't really sure how I got there. Now, I mean, if you're looking to brew up a batch of trouble, you can take a 19-year-old, mix in spring break with 25 or so fraternity brothers, sprinkle in a little Cancun, and you're gonna have trouble. But, I mean, we didn't get into much trouble. I mean, we made bad choices all week long, but those are generally dietary. I mean, the ones that end up with you going from full-on belly laugh to emergency dash to the bathroom. And as an aside, everybody says, going to Mexico, don't drink the water, don't drink the water. Nobody ever says, don't eat the salads. Don't eat the salads. So anyway, our first night there, first red flag, big idea, we're gonna make it the last call to that one club that stays open until 6 a.m. Well, I think I'm doing the right thing that says, you know, about 2, 3 in the morning, I say, you know what, I'm gonna be the adult in the room. I'm gonna step back, take a cab back to the hotel, get a good night's sleep, and be ready for that first full day of spring break in Cancun. So I check my pocket, and I've got a bunch of cash, plenty for a cab ride back to the hotel. And so I do the Irish goodbye, step back, and I hit the street. Now, this is where the details get a little fuzzy, as in, I don't exactly remember walking on the street. I don't remember the interaction with the officers. It's just, you know, it's the tactile kind of, you know, the feelings that you remember, like face hitting the plastic-covered back seat of the police car. That's what you remember. And that was about it. And then all of a sudden, I wake up, eyes come in focus. You look around, takes about 5 seconds or so, 5 to 10 seconds, you realize you're in jail. And all of a sudden you realize, I'm in a Mexican jail. And then you realize, I don't know how I got there. And then the panic sets in, that I'm a 19-year-old college kid from Massachusetts in Cancun, Mexico, in jail. Now, the problem being that I'm in jail, that's one thing. Now there's a language barrier that I'm trying to overcome. They don't speak English, I don't speak Spanish, but thankfully my jailers do speak the international language of laughter. And if I was ever questioning as to what they were laughing at, the finger pointing at me kind of clued me in. So I sat there and I start going through all the permutations. Okay, what's going to happen next? I'm going to end up in some kind of Mexican prison. I'm going to be turning big rocks into little rocks, and I am going to be not heard from for the next 40 years. And I am just panic-stricken while they laugh and laugh and laugh. And so 1 hour, 2 hour, I really start to go from drunk to hungover. Now I'm starting to really get antsy, and I am getting into my depths of despair. When they bring me to the front of the jail, okay, this is it. This is where they're going to transfer me to the courthouse. I'm going to have my day in front of a court. I'm going to get arraigned. Wait a minute, do they even have a day in court in Mexico? Do they even have arraignments in Mexico? I have no idea. I'm 19 years old. And that's when they point to the front door, give me the shoe sign, and I look at them. And now at this point, I'm about on the same level as that rehabilitated wild animal when they open up the cage the first time. And I'm like, really? You're just gonna dart me again as soon as I go out that front door, right? And no, they shoo me out, and I hit the street. Oh, I think I turned around and said gracias. Hit the street. I don't think I hit the pavement for 100 yards because I was just dancing on air. I made it. I survived my night in Mexican jail. I've got a story to tell, and I've lived to tell it. Cabbie pulls up, says, "I'll take you to the hotel." I'm like, fantastic. Fiesta Americana, Plaza Cancun, let's go. I reach in my pocket, and I realize a life lesson doesn't come cheap because the Mexican Gray Bar Hotel does charge for overnight visits, and it's basically everything you got in your pocket. Small price to pay for a life lesson learned.
Cancun and cut it there, am I right? Yeah, take that one. Our next storyteller is storyteller number 9, Jim Hill.
So I think of this story as a little bit Goonies and a little bit Goodfellas. It starts on a snow day in 1975. 3 9-year-old kids with nothing to do throw snowballs at each other and passing cars. We stationed ourselves up on in the woods off of Route 28, trying our best to hit cars, and there were 3 skinny 9-year-olds who really couldn't hit cars, so we ended up throwing them snowballs at each other until one of us, Andy I think, shouted, "You guys, you gotta see this!" So we raced over to where he's making snowballs, and he's pulling up coins out of the snow. Loads of coins, quarters, dimes, nickels. Some of it's rolled, some of it isn't. We have hit the mother load. We are 9-year-old kids stuffing our snorkel coats with coins, thinking we've got a whole day in front of us. This is a snow day. Where can we go? McManus's Ice Cream across 28, over by the high school. Yeah. Now, we weren't really bad kids. We were lightly supervised. But when you stuffed our pockets full of coins and told us we had to cross Route 28, the forbidden zone, we went. We were already scoundrels. The rules no longer apply. So, we finally make our way through the snow and the slush, and we get to McManus's, and we order everything. It's like Mickey Rourke and Barfly. Oh, my friend! I'm ordering sundaes and banana splits and milkshakes, and there's only 3 people working, and there's only 3 kids in the bar. So they bring everything to us, and we eat as much as we can, and we've got such a sugar rush. So much. We're flying. And we're like, okay, what do we do now? Do we order more? And they say, you kids got any money? We're like, yeah, we got money! Ha-ha! And we start piling coins on the counter, and they're like, this is weird. All right. And they scoop it up, and they count it up. There's probably, we rang up quite a bill. I don't know what it is in 1975 money, but it was a lot. They go over, they count it out, they come back to us, and they go, where'd you get that money, kid? We're like, what? Well, savings. Yeah, savings. And they go, we've called the police. We're like, why? We were throwing snowballs. We found it in the woods. What are you talking about? And they're like, all of that money is solid silver. We're like, so we could have gotten more ice cream? They're like, sit tight, kid. You've had enough. A little while later, cruiser pulls up. 9-year-old Jimmy and Andy and Sean get showed the back seat. We're sweating it. I gotta tell you, the cop was not exactly friendly to 3 little boys in snorkel jackets and ice cream stained faces. We drive home. My mom's at work. Andy's mom is at work, so we go to Sean's. And his mother is not pleased. She says, we get sequestered into the dining room, which if you remember dining rooms, kids did not go into, especially sticky-covered, snowy kids. And there's a lot of talk out there. We hear male voice, her voice getting higher, his voice getting lower. Finally, they call us back out. Where'd you find the money, boys? We found it in the woods and we were throwing snowballs at each other. And cars? You were throwing snowballs at cars? No! Well, it turns out that money had been reported stolen from a crime a few days before. And we just happened to be in the wrong place at the right time, or the right place at the wrong time, because we were full of ice cream. And it was a snow day on Cape Cod. They didn't press charges. Thank goodness. But they did confiscate our money and told us, if nobody claims it, we would get it back in a few weeks. We never got the money back. But somehow Sean ended up with a new bicycle that spring. Thank you.
Sean. Am I right, Sean? Our storyteller number 10 is Bill Boussier. Come on down, Bill Boussier. I got that right because she asked ahead. Yeah.
Well, I knew I was in trouble about a month ago. I broke a tooth. So I have to tell you about a little bit about my tooth history, and then I'll tell you about my experience at the dentist. So I was born and raised in Bloomfield, Connecticut. I lived there until I was 14. And in Bloomfield, we had fluoride water. So if you have fluoride water, you have great teeth. So I have nice teeth. So every time I go to the dentist, boy, you have really nice teeth. Thank you. I do. I have really nice teeth. So I always go to the dentist, and when I was 10, I had a filling. I have one filling in the back of my mouth. I still only have one filling. That's pretty good. But soon after that, I had a problem. So I had a baby tooth come after the canine tooth underneath it. So if you can see, it sort of sticks out a little bit. Well, I was very self-conscious about it when I was little. So we go to the dentist, and I'm the fourth child of 5, and my sister and I had braces, so I wasn't getting braces. So the dentist goes, well, let's look at your mouth. Well, what you could do is, when you're watching TV, take a popsicle stick and lean it up against your tooth, and it'll move. So, here I am, watching TV, trying to get it to move. It never moved. It was a little scary. So let's fast forward. So, I'm going to the dentist. I still go tonight. Boy, you have really nice teeth. Thank you. So we have 2 kids. We come to the Cape. We have 2 kids. Of course, we bring the kids to the dentist. And I find out I'm not going to the dentist anymore. Every time I go, you have nice teeth. Keep doing what you're doing. Well, I brush once, and every time we have lobster, I use floss. Which isn't very often. So about a month ago, all of a sudden, I weird feeling in my mouth. I go, uh-oh, something's wrong. So I have a broken tooth. I can feel it. So I need a dentist. All right, what are you gonna do? All right. Well, I don't want to go to anybody I know. All right. And I've lived on Cape Cod since 1972, and I know a lot of people. So I'm looking at all the dentists. Oh, I know him. I know him. I know the hygienist. I know this. So I finally find a dentist that I don't know, and I don't know anybody at the dentist's office. I go, all right. And this is really cool. You can make an appointment online. So I got Tuesday, 2 o'clock. And they said, if you fill out your paperwork online, they'll make it quicker. I said, oh man. So I filled out my paperwork. They call up on Monday, hey Bill, your appointment's tomorrow at 2. That's great, I'm in. I said, come a little early, you gotta fill out your paperwork. Well, I've already filled out my paperwork, I did it online. So, oh, okay, don't worry about it. Okay, cool. So Tuesday, 2 o'clock, I come in about 1:45, because I'm a nice guy, I don't come early. So I come in early. Hi, Bill Boussier, appointment first time, toothache, okay. All right, well, here's your paperwork to fill out. And so I fill out I look at the paperwork, and I'm sorry, let me back up. So I go, well, wait a minute, I've already done it online. They go, oh, all right, well, let's look it up. Here you go, we just need you to sign a couple things. So I go back to my chair, and it's got somebody else's name on it. I said, all right, it's not mine. So they give me the right paperwork, I go back to my chair, sign it, and now I'm looking around the office, and this is pretty cool, there's only 2 people in this office, there's about 12 chairs. One guy gets called in, so I start looking around the office. This is a nice little office. It's nice and new, it's clean, but I noticed a couple things. So I'm looking down into the office, and I can see 3 chairs where people are laying. So somebody's getting their teeth drilled, somebody's getting their teeth cleaned, and somebody else is getting something done. I go, that's sort of weird. You can see that. all right, but that's okay. And then, so the guy goes, now the place is starting to fill up. And nobody's coming out, right? So I know all the chairs are full. And then the guy comes out who went in before me. And there's a room over here to the right. And it's got this weird thing. I mean, I haven't been to the dentist for 30 years. And it's this thing that wraps around your head. So the guy goes in there and gets his x-rays done. And that's so weird, okay. So we all get to watch that. Well, I waited for 45 minutes, I ended up leaving. I go, this is crazy. I ended up giving up my seat to a guy with oxygen because I was messy again. So I get to go back the next day. And first appointment in the morning. And I ask the dentist, I sit down. Again, now I'm in the visible chair where I can hear everybody and see everybody. And it was really scary. I was really scared. And they tell me what to do, that I have to come back for a root canal. I have the root canal, and so finally I get to do the root canal, and I sit down and I go to the dentist, I'm really nervous, I'm a little nervous. He goes, don't worry, everybody's nervous who sits in this chair. Okay. Then I'm really nervous about swallowing. They do all the stuff, they put it all in there, and they put all the Novocaine, and I can't feel anything in my mouth. And then finally, they take the stuff out, I don't know how to swallow. He goes, well, don't worry about it. The girl has the second thing. She's going to take it out. Well, I heard earlier the girl goes, we've been having troubles with the second thing. So I got up and I left. So if you guys know a good dentist, I still have that problem.
And speaking of dentists, what is the best time to go to the dentist? Does anybody know? Well, I guess you guys should come up and post that. All right, we have come to the finale. We have one more storyteller. Last, but certainly not least, is Joey Novik. Come on up, Joey Novik.
Thank you, got it. Thank you. So I take you back to 1962, the summer, July of 1962. My two older brothers are in sleepaway camp, and I am home alone, just totally bored out of my mind. My dad comes home from work that day, and he tells me that he has purchased tickets to go to my very first New York Yankees baseball game. I am bouncing off the walls, and I cannot wait to go to this game. We're about to leave about 6 o'clock to get on the train, and my mother stopped and says, wait a second, have a great time. Here's a paper bag, and in the paper bag is food for you, a chicken sandwich, so you don't have to waste money on anything else. So I reluctantly take the bag, we get on the bus, we go to the train, we get on the D train. As we're getting on the train, my dad says to me, give me the chicken sandwich in the paper bag. I said, what? And he goes, when you go to Yankee Stadium, you don't have a chicken sandwich, you have hot dogs. He takes the chicken sandwich and throws it out into the garbage. I am very excited about this. We get on the first car, and I'm riding on the train, and I'm watching the tracks pass by. I get to talk to the conductor who's in a full uniform, and I'm thinking, great, that's what I want to be when I grow up, to be a train conductor. This is going to be great. We finally get to 161st Street in the Bronx. I walk out, and I see the Cathedral of Baseball, Yankee Stadium. I see the blue of the sky. I see everybody. There's hundreds and thousands of people walking up. We go and we get our tickets, and we walk, and we get there early enough to see batting practice. And in the distance, up batting righty, my heart is beating crazy. And if an 8-year-old could have an orgasm, I've had it. Mickey Mantle. He's hitting shots lefty, he's hitting shots righty. I'm watching him, he is big as anything, and I'm just going absolutely nuts watching him. And then my dad says, well, we should go to our seats. So he takes my hand, we start to go up the escalator, and I say, oh, are our seats here? And he goes, no, we have much better seats than these. So we go up to the first level, and we turn around, we walk around, and say, oh, are our seats here? He goes, no, much better than these. 3 levels later, we're all the way up at the top. We take about 2/3 of a walk up to the top. Mickey Mantle, who is now all of 6'4" down there, is now this big instead of him. And I say to my dad, I said, Dad, these are the best seats? He goes, well, yeah, you want to sit down there with the poor people? You can sit up here with the rich people. You can tell all your friends you sat up here in this, because this is where the real fans are. Now my dad, so I said, no, I want to stay up here. I want to stay up here, you know. So we're up there, and my dad had a rule whenever we went out anywhere, circus, baseball game, he would never say no to me. He would let me have whatever I wanted. So I ordered a hot dog, second inning came, I'm ordering popcorn, third inning came, I'm ordering peanuts, Cracker Jacks. Finally, I'm watching, I think it was the Kansas City Athletics they were playing at that time. I am like so excited watching this game, and we start to get to the 7th inning, and my dad says, hey, you getting kind of tired? And I said, yes. He goes, well, you know, it's time to stand up and stretch. Hey, why don't you lead everybody in that song that you learned in camp the other day, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. So I stand up and I start singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and miraculously, everyone joins in. No, this is absolutely amazing. I'm singing, my dad's going, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. We do 2 rounds of this. At the end of the game, I don't remember who won, but we start walking down, and then he says, hey, would you like to meet my friend Mel Allen? We go to meet Mel Allen, who's the radio announcer. We go back on the train, and my dad is training me, and he says, look, Mom is going to ask you about the chicken sandwich. You got to go like this and say, hey, I really like the chicken sandwich. We get home, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. My mother is standing on the porch, and she said, how was the game? I tell her everything, and then she says to me the money question, how did you like the chicken sandwich? I look at my dad, I go, I love the chicken sandwich. And then she says to me, how many hot dogs did you have? I say 5, my dad yells at me, and I'm thinking, I wasn't ready for that question. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for all of our storytellers. Wonderful. Also, thank you to Cape Cod Beer. Your beverages are so tasty. Your space is wonderful. Thank you so much for